Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders, great millstone, do well and teach well. Shalom to all the saints of our Akim, pushing his truth, holding faith throughout the four corners of the earth. Well, shalom to the few sisters that Aqua, if you listen, learn, and be obedient to that has been at home, as well as to the one that is scattered abroad. I say shalom. Come back at you with another lesson, Lord willing. Yahweh desire this left me edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakodash. This lesson I want to go into, is us, it's like us, being changed, man. It's brothers with, a couple brothers from different camps, was going into, same topic of us being changed, us being, gifted or given these new heavenly bodies, Lord willing, to be a part of that elect number. I thought to myself, the hell that we go through, is worth it. Because ultimately, as the scriptures say, we're going to consider it. Let me actually get that. I keep saying that. Second Corinthians 4. I'll start at 16. It says, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day." That's right, man. Let me get that word renewed. It says renewed, having been resumed, reestablished, or revived. That's right, man. It says changing into something new and different, something better. Yup. So we bettering to restore to a former state, make new or as if new again. That's right, man. Through this word, as scripture say, by the washing of the word, we're making ourselves better. We're making ourselves new again. The newness, of life, man. Through this word, man. And through that, Lord one will be a part of the elect number. We're gonna get, those heavenly bodies, man. Where, we don't have to, search out through the scriptures and, I can't find that precept. Nah, all of it is we're gonna be wired. Like Jake say, he wired different or whatever. That's how we really gonna be, man. Because all these scriptures is just gonna be in us, man. It says, verse 17, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceedingly and eternal weight of glory. While we're looking not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." That's right, man. You see Jake, chasing after the things of this world, the money, the cars, the clothes, the hoes, and etc., man. But those things, they change like the seasons, man. Especially a woman, man. She gonna hop from this man to that man, but not what? Not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He says, well, I change not, man. Man changed, but I don't change. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai don't change. He's the same yesterday and today, man. It reminds me of the scripture, for the thoughts that I have towards you are peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. We continue, pushing this work, doing the things which Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai commanded us to do, and we are the elect. The Lord is going to give us that expected end, and that's going to come with the things that are eternal, the things that are immortality. Those new heavenly bodies, man. Get this in Isaiah 40. You know, and we're going to look back and be like, man, that wasn't nothing. You know, that wasn't nothing. You know, to receive these bodies, because, you know, we in this flesh, man. Even Paul said, oh, wretched man I am. The Baton Rouge brothers, little Baton Rouge brothers back home, or my home or whatever, but they were going into it, man. You know, Brother Dawud was going into it. You know, how Paul said, oh, wretched man that I am. You know, Kasaja, I think he said before, how Paul was like, you know, the things that I want to do, I do not, but the things that I don't want to do, I do, roughly paraphrasing, man. Because, you know, and the beloved brother Kasaja said it, man. You know, the creature is subject unto vanity, man. So just imagine, you know, when we actually get those heavenly bodies, man. And it ain't no more imagine, man. We gonna be in it, man. We gonna be in the new vessel, man. You ain't gonna get tired, you know. You ain't gonna get weary, feeble knees, fainting, headaches, and sickness, and sore throat, and man, you just gonna be perfect, completion 7, man. Yo, this is Isaiah 40:31. It says, but they that wait upon the Lord, see, it's a waiting game, man. It just don't come tomorrow. All you like you're an Israelite, all you know, you done heard this scripture, all you, it's not gonna happen just like that. Just like remind me of Thanos snapping his fingers. You know, it comes with time, man. You know, it comes with time. You know, because the Lord deals with what? Gradualism. And you see on the left-hand side, you know, Esau Edom. Of course, he wants to, as the scripture says, he sits in the temple of the Most High, and he wants to be like Yahweh Shemel Shai. You know, so he does the gradualism thing as well, man. But it all goes, you know, back into, you know, waiting and being patient. It goes into suffering. It says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And is that prophecy, is this scripture right here fulfilled? No. You know, you get out of breath just by talking. You know, you get out of breath just by going down the steps, man. You out of breath. Man, you know, you just went to sleep. You got 8 hours. You know, they say get that, you know, 8 hours and things of that nature. You wake up, you still tired, man. You know, it's no peace. You know, Esau Edom still ruling over us. So the things that we go through now, we gonna consider it like, man, because we not gonna have a damn evildoer, a wicked ruler, you know, ruling over us, man. Everything is gonna be ruled in righteousness, in its rightful order, just like how it was in the ancient time, man. It's like, you know. But I mean, off in Zechariah's scripture we had brought out, Cant, I think it's what, 12 and 8. It says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, as the house of David. It says, Salaki, and the house of David shall be as the Elohim, and the angels. It's like, let me read that again. It says, in that day shall the Lord Yahweh Shai defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David, Bayaftawadah, says shall be as the Elohim, as the angel of the Lord before them. That's right, man. And you know David, man. You know King Mashah, King Mashah. You know, the mama that goes in, man. You know, he's a bad mama jamma, man. You know. But it's gonna be even far more and greater, because he still had that physical body. We know in the ancient time, you know, that bodies was much bigger and statue and things of that nature that was stronger. Men would get weaker over time as Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, put that on, really, curse on the earth, man. Especially, Jake, man. You see from all these, different athletes, you look in the older in time, the 1900s and things of that nature, how they were built, like it's scientists and all that stuff, which is not, you don't really need all that just to see it, but I'm saying the testosterone of, of men that were born in the older times of the 1960s, 70s, or whatever, it was more, compared to this time, man. That's because of what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, put out there, man, of men getting weaker, over time. And, that's not, how it was, originally was, man. But now it is, because, the sons of God, which later be known as the Israelites, man, went off, man. But getting back into it, even, David, he was still in that physical, fleshly body, that went off, that was still subject unto vanity, subject unto sin. But we're going to be even with having that heavenly body, where you can't sin. You can't think of, as the scripture say, even the foolish thought is sin. We ain't going to have no foolish thoughts, man. We're going to have we're going to have the 100% of our brain. I forgot what they said growing up. You only use 30% of your brain or something like that, which is true, man. Like that reminded me of the TV show Limitless, man. He took a pill and then now he just can read a book, I think, in 5 minutes and math equations and all that, man. We're gonna have all of that, man. And it's gonna be beautiful, man. We're gonna be angelic. We're gonna live forever. We're gonna be immortal. Hey, ain't no man, I hope she ain't pregnant. Nah, you lay down with her, bam. You like brothers always say, hey, man, we gonna be joking about, hey, I'm about to have quadruplets this time, and all that, man. Goddamn Eve with like, and that too, man. You ain't gonna see our woman Eve with 3-inch shorts on, jean shorts on, man. You're not gonna see that in the kingdom of heaven, man. You ain't gonna see a woman with pants, Everything is gonna be in its original righteous order, man. It's gonna be a beautiful thing to see. It's gonna be a beautiful time, eon, world, world goes in, that eon, that time period to live in, man, which is forever. Unlike Esau Edom kingdom, which is, and that's funny, I'm about crumble cookie, which is crumbling down, by the second, when, the sons of the power, the sons of Yahweh Shemiah Shai be placed in rulership again, starting with, Yahweh Shai. We gonna rule forever and ever, man, in righteousness, and everything is gonna be in order. We're gonna have our heavenly bodies, Lord willing, be a part of that number, the elect number, and everything gonna be good, man. No more of these Edomites. We're gonna put these heathens in order. It's gonna take time, like the El Yashawamba went into it at Cant. They're gonna be still praying on their gods for the first 1,000 years, and throughout that time. But eventually they're gonna have to get in order, because they're gonna realize, hey, man, ain't no going back, man. The freedoms that they had on this side of them being over us, and etc., man. the way we're going to have it in the kingdom, they're going to realize, hey, it's going to be like that forever, man. You know? But with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashim, Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders, the great millstone, do will and teach well. Shalom to all the sisters, Aki, and pushing truth on faith throughout the four corners of the earth. Detailed Bible, ball, quench, all shalom.